Carlos Alcaraz crushes Taylor Fritz to claim his first victory at the Six Kings Slam and reach the grand final, where he awaits the winner of Djokovic vs Sinner, with $7 million on the line. When it comes to naming the best tennis player in the world, there's only one option: Carlos Alcaraz. After winning the Cincinnati Masters 1000 and the US Open to reclaim the world #1 ranking, he returned in Tokyo, where an injury didn't stop him from dominating. After skipping Shanghai, he's back on court at the Six Kings Slam, the most lucrative tournament in the world, facing a tough opponent in Taylor Fritz. In their last exhibition clash, at the Laver Cup, the American swept him aside, but this time, with millions at stake, the tables have turned. With special strapping on his ankle, some uncertainty about his fitness for the end of the season, and doubts after what was seen on Wednesday, when Alexander Zverev and Stefanos Tsitsipas seemed to take the court merely to collect their checks, it wasn't clear what approach the Spaniard would take. In the end, though, he was true to himself, ruthless, aggressive, and spectacular. Playing the kind of attacking indoor tennis he showed earlier in the season, he won in straight sets, 6-4 and 6-2, producing his trademark magic along the way, including some exquisite drop shots. Revenge on Fritz complete. At the Laver Cup, Fritz had played almost perfect tennis to hand Alcaraz one of his few defeats of 2025, so the Spaniard came in with lessons learned. He was also a bit fresher, as the San Diego native had needed just 59 minutes to beat Zverev. Alcaraz's goal was simple: hold serve and take advantage of any rare break chances. That's exactly what he did. In the first set, he broke in the fifth game and closed it out 6-4. Far from easing up, Alcaraz raised his level in the second. Although Fritz held his own early on and even had a break point at 2-1, he couldn't convert. That missed opportunity broke his momentum, and he was immediately broken in the next game, again, the fifth. The world #4 never recovered, losing another service game to give Alcaraz the 6-2 set and the match. The Spaniard now awaits the winner of Sinner vs Djokovic. Whoever advances will try to hand Alcaraz his first loss, apart from the Laver Cup, since the Wimbledon final in July. And yes, with $7 million at stake. Alcaraz compares exhibitions to full-length tournaments. After resting and treating a grade 2 sprain in his left ankle sustained at the Tokyo tournament, Carlos Alcaraz is back on court for the multi-million-dollar exhibition event in Saudi Arabia known as the Six Kings Slam. The tournament awards $1.5 million to each player just for participating, and $6 million to the champion. Last year, that honor went to Jannik Sinner, who beat Alcaraz in the final. Before his debut in the Saudi event, entering directly in the semifinals against American Taylor Fritz, 6:30 p.m. Spanish time, the world #1 spoke to PA, with his remarks later published by AS and Marca. He defended himself against critics who found it inconsistent for him to complain about the busy ATP schedule while playing in lucrative exhibitions. Alcaraz argued that these events are far less demanding than official tournaments, which is why he sometimes chooses them, to play in a more relaxed, low-pressure environment. On his ankle, he admitted he still isn't at 100% in terms of movement but feels ready to perform well in the tournament. Criticism for playing exhibitions. I understand the criticism, but people often misunderstand our point of view. When I see people complaining about players defending exhibitions, I don't really get it because it's not mentally demanding like 2-week tournaments. Those are really tough. A different, more relaxed format. It's a completely different format. Playing exhibitions isn't the same as playing official tournaments. There you have 15 or 16 days in a row where you have to stay intensely focused and physically sharp. Here, we just enjoy ourselves for a day or two playing tennis, and that's great. That's why we sometimes choose them over regular tournaments. The ankle. I wouldn't say I feel 100%. I don't feel completely confident playing demanding matches without the bandage. There's still some doubt when I move on court, but I think it's improved a lot. I hope to compete and perform well at the Six Kings Slam. Fritz feels closer than ever to the elite, competing with Carlos. Taylor Fritz, Alcaraz's semifinal opponent at the Six Kings Slam, says he feels closer than ever to the world's top players. Carlos Alcaraz is world #1 and US Open champion, having a brilliant 2025. His next challenge is the Six Kings Slam, where he enters directly into the semifinals against the American, who believes he's narrowing the gap. Speaking to Tennis 365 before the match, Fritz said, "Sinner and Alcaraz are two incredible players. They motivate me to keep improving and become a better player so I can compete with them. When I played Carlos at the Laver Cup last year, he played unbelievably well and I felt like I had no chance. This year, both at the Laver Cup and in the Tokyo final, I felt much closer. I think my level is getting there," Fritz explained. He added, If you look back at where I was mid-season, especially after the clay swing, I'd have taken it. I was having a tough year, not playing my best, dealing with injuries. The second half of the season has been great. He believes a Grand Slam title could come soon. It's just about things coming together for 2 weeks. My level is there when I play my best tennis. I just need to sustain it for those 2 weeks, Fritz concluded during the Six Kings Slam. Controversy surrounds the Six Kings Slam. The Six Kings Slam has kicked off amid controversy that was already brewing before the first serve, and organizers might take serious measures next year, as fans have been voicing complaints on social media. As the tournament offering the richest prizes, $1.5 million per participant and nearly $6 million for the winner, players inevitably show up, even if injured. That's been clear with both Stefanos Tsitsipas and Daniil Medvedev. Tsitsipas, facing Jannik Sinner, lasted just over an hour, as the Italian showed the clear gap between them. A 6-2, 6-3 victory sent Sinner to the semifinals against Novak Djokovic, who is also not at his physical best after struggling in Shanghai. The second match, between Taylor Fritz and Daniil Medvedev, revealed players' financial motivations even more clearly. The Russian lasted even less, just 59 minutes, as the American knocked him out 6-3, 6-4. Fritz now faces Alcaraz, who has already shown up to training in Saudi Arabia with a distinctive ankle wrap. Jannik Sinner off to a flying start in Saudi Arabia. Jannik Sinner began his Six Kings Slam title defense in style, crushing Stefanos Tsitsipas in straight sets to book a semi-final clash with Novak Djokovic at the most lucrative event of the tennis year. Sinner has dominated the ATP Tour for over a year. Of the 4 most recent Grand Slams before the 2025 US Open, he won 3, and nearly claimed Roland Garros before an incredible Alcaraz comeback. However, his US hard-court swing was difficult. He withdrew from Cincinnati due to illness and then lost the US Open final to an outstanding Alcaraz. Those setbacks cost him the #1 ranking. He rebounded with a title in Beijing, but cramps forced him to retire in Shanghai, so he arrived in Riyadh hungry for redemption. In 2024, Sinner won the inaugural Saudi event, defeating Alcaraz in the final and pocketing $6 million. This year, he's chasing both the money and revenge, especially if he and Alcaraz meet again in the final. A storm over Tsitsipas. Sinner's opening match went smoothly, beating an out-of-form Tsitsipas, who stepped in for the injured Jack Draper, 6-2, 6-3. The Greek, struggling with back issues and ranked lower than usual, posed little threat. Sinner raced to a 5-0 lead with 3 breaks, dropped 2 games, then closed the set 6-2. Another early break in the second set sealed his control, and he wrapped it up 6-3. Next up, Novak Djokovic, a tougher test, though the Serb arrives weary after physical struggles in Shanghai. Sinner's mental explanation for his physical collapse in Shanghai. Returning for the Six Kings Slam after withdrawing from Shanghai with cramps, Sinner admitted the heat and humidity broke him mentally and physically. Despite winning 2 Grand Slams in 2025, the Australian Open and Wimbledon, and an ATP 500 in Beijing, his season has been complicated. A 3-month suspension disrupted his campaign after Melbourne, and he's endured painful losses to Alcaraz in Rome, Roland Garros, and the US Open, as well as illness in Cincinnati. Speaking to Punto de Break, he said, "The mistake was mine. The heat and humidity affected me, and I broke down. You learn from that, cramps happen, and I was one of the many who suffered." He added, "I took 2 days off, then got back to work. I feel good physically and mentally now. The conditions in China were tough, but everything's fine again. It was more psychological than physical, and I've worked on that with my team." Although overtaking Alcaraz in the rankings seems unlikely, Sinner hopes to finish the season strongly, targeting titles in Vienna, Paris, the ATP Finals, and the Davis Cup. "We're ready for what's next, and I want to end the year in the best possible way," he concluded.